Now let us understand, friends, what are the features of options. In my experience and in my understanding, it is the language of derivatives that has to be understood. And once this language of the derivatives is understood, comprehension of derivatives, whether futures or forwards or options, becomes very, very easy. So when we talk about the options as contract, so there are six features of of an option contract. So whether we are talking about the call option or we are talking about the put option, doesn't really matter. In case of both the call option and the put option, there are six features that we need to understand. And the number one is the strike price, contract price, or the exercise price. Now please remember, whenever you will read something about derivatives or about the options, you will always find in those literature, sometimes it is written as strike price, sometimes it is written as contract price, sometimes it is written as exercise price. Now since we are not so much familiar, so we tend to get confused and think as to, is the strike price and the contract price and the exercise price sorry, are these same or they are different? So please remember, they are all same. So whether you are talking about this as a strike price or the contract price or the exercise price, they all mean the same thing. और इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है, this is the price at which this contract will be exercised. So the strike price or contract price or the exercise price is the price at which this contract, this option will be exercised, if at all it is exercised. If at all it is exercised. And I am sure now you will understand when I say if at all it is exercised, why I am saying so. And I am saying so because an option can be favorable to an option buyer or it may not be favorable to an option buyer. So in case if it is not favorable, in case if it is favorable to the option buyer, he will exercise it, as we saw in two of the examples on Tata Motors and in case of the TCS. तो ये दोनों कंपनी में हमने देखा कि एक सिचुएशन में कॉल ऑप्शन में जब जो स्पॉट प्राइस है ऊपर चली गई है, तो द होल्डर ऑफ द कॉल ऑप्शन विल एक्सरसाइज इट. एंड इन केस ऑफ द पुट ऑप्शन, if the spot price has gone down, in that case the holder of the put option will exercise it. In other situations he will not exercise it because it is not favorable to him, it doesn't help him, so he will simply expire, let the option expire. So that is number one. And please remember, I am repeating, the strike price कहो, contract price कहो, exercise price कहो, तीनों का मतलब एक ही है. और तीनों का मतलब ये है कि ये वो प्राइस है जिस पर के ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को एक्सरसाइज किया जाएगा अगर किया जाता है तो, अदरवाइज इट विल एक्सपायर इन एनी केस. नंबर टू, व्हाट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज प्रीमियम. एंड व्हाट इज प्रीमियम? प्रीमियम इज द अमाउंट दैट यू पे to the seller of the option or writer of the option for the risk that he is taking. And as we discussed earlier, remember, so as the buyer of the option has only right, he does not have any obligation. The seller of the option has only obligation, he does not have any option. तो जो सेलर ऑफ द ऑप्शन है, ही इज़ लाइक एन इंश्योरेंस कंपनी. तो जिस तरह से इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से जब हम पॉलिसी लेते हैं तो हम इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को प्रीमियम भरते हैं, इजंट इट? सो लाइकवाइज व्हेन यू आर बाइंग एन ऑप्शन, कॉल ऑप्शन और पुट ऑप्शन, यू हैव टू पे प्रीमियम एंड दिस प्रीमियम हैज़ टू बी पेड अप फ्रंट. तो जब आप ऑप्शन परचेज करेंगे, वेदर यू आर परचेजिंग द पुट ऑप्शन और यू आर परचेजिंग द कॉल ऑप्शन, एट द टाइम ऑफ परचेज ऑफ दीज टू ऑप्शंस you will pay premium which is upfront. The third feature that we need to understand in the context of the option is the spot price. Spot price का मतलब क्या है? वो उस दिन की, उस समय की जो प्राइस है उस स्टॉक की, that is your spot price, right? So पिछले वाले एग्जाम्पल्स में जिस दिन हमने वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन किया वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हमने साइन किया, एक्सेस दैट वाज नोन एज एक्सरसाइज प्राइस, दैट वाज नोन एज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट प्राइस और दैट वाज नोन एज स्ट्राइक प्राइस. सब्सिक्वेंटली जो भी उस शेयर की प्राइस होगी मार्केट में, दैट इज नोन एज स्पॉट प्राइस. सो वी ऑल अंडरस्टैंड दिस in any case. So I'm not really I do not have to overemphasize as to what is spot price. The fourth thing that we need to understand in the context of the option is expiry, expiration, maturity or settlement. Now please remember again settlement date. Please remember again they all mean the same thing. They all mean the same thing. तो आप एक्सपायरी डेट कहो, एक्सपायरेशन डेट कहो, मैच्योरिटी डेट कहो, सेटलमेंट डेट कहो, चारों का मतलब एक ही है. और क्या मतलब है? मतलब ये है कि वो डेट जिस दिन वो ऑप्शन को एक्सरसाइज किया जाएगा या किया जाना चाहिए, दैट इज़ नॉन एज योर एक्सपायरी डेट, एक्सपायरेशन डेट, मैच्योरिटी डेट और सेटलमेंट डेट. तो मैं ये आपको चार चार नाम क्यों बता रहा हूँ? ये चार चार नाम आपको मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि हम वी बिकम अवेयर कि समटाइम्स इन दी फाइनेंशियल लिटरेचर दे यूज़ एक्सपायरी डेट or expiration date or maturity date or settlement date. So we need not and should not be confused about it. Number 5 is payoff. Now what is the payoff? Payoff is the worth of an option. Payoff is the worth of an option, and we will discuss payoff in any case as we move forward. But payoff का मतलब ये है कि at any given point in time, how much is the gain for the holder of the option from that option, and that is your payoff. यानी कि and I can give you a simple example. Simple example ये है कि let's say I have bought a call option at a strike price of 100. तो मैंने क्या किया? मैंने एक कॉल ऑप्शन परचेज किया एट ए स्ट्राइक प्राइस ऑफ 100 रुपीज़ और उसकी आज की तारीख में स्पॉट जो प्राइस है, स्पॉट प्राइस है 120 रुपीज़. सो 120 इज़ द स्पॉट प्राइस एंड आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द कॉल ऑप्शन. आई एम टू कॉल ऑप्शन. सो 120 is the spot price and the strike price or the contract price or the exercise price is 100. So this difference of 20 is known as payoff on this option, and that is how you will understand what is payoff. So payoff tells you as to what is the worth of this option on a given date. And how do you find it out? You find it out by minusing the strike price from the spot price. Now remember, if spot price is 90 and the strike price is 100, so this means minus 10. But remember, this means minus 10, but really speaking, it simply means that this option does not have any payoff, or this option is worthless. And why this option is worthless? And that is because if an option has a negative payoff, obviously the holder of the option will not exercise it. And why he will not exercise it? Because if he exercises, he will have to pay 10 rupees from his pocket. So why should somebody exercise the option and pay 10 rupees? And that is why this is negative payoff, and that means effectively it is zero. And why it is zero? Because the holder of the option will not exercise it. And the sixth point that we need to understand in the context of features of option are parties of an option. And remember, the parties of the option, of course, we will discuss as to what the parties of the options are and how their rights and obligations are. So before I move to the discussion on parties to the option, let me ask all of you, in case if you have any doubt, any question on any of the things that I have discussed with you, please go ahead and ask me.